How do you cram 20,000 people into a structure that spans less than 0.03 square kilometers? This isn't a work of fiction. It's a stark living reality across corners of our planet. Humans have found endless ways to fold and stack life itself, building hyperdense communities within the tiniest of spaces. Today, we're diving into these mind-bendingly compact structures to uncover the stories behind their extreme density. Number 10. Edifício Copan, São Paulo, Brazil. How can a single residential tower hold the population of a small town? In the heart of São Paulo, there stands a curving, wave-like building. Not a neighborhood, not a block, just one solitary tower. From a distance, it's sleek, modern, even idealistic. Designed by iconic modernist architect Oscar Niemeyer and completed in 1966, this 110-meter-tall, 38-story tower had a simple original goal: to offer a vertical living solution for a rapidly expanding city. But as land prices soared and the city center grew more crowded, humans began to fold horizontally spread out streets into the sky. Inside Copan, you'll find banks, restaurants, shops, barbershops. Many residents can go days without stepping foot outside the building. This isn't a slum, nor is it an illegal structure. It's a planned, approved high-density living space. Copan isn't the world's most densely populated building, but it marks a pivotal turning point. Humanity's first willing embrace of vertically stacked living, and merely the starting line for the even more extreme density to come. Number 9. Ponte City, Johannesburg, South Africa. A skyscraper built for the middle class, now a crammed vertical island cut off from the world. In downtown Johannesburg, this 54-story cylindrical tower juts into the sky like a massive concrete silo, with a hollow core running from top to bottom and all apartments wrapping around this central structure. Completed in the 1970s, it was originally marketed as elite modern urban housing, a symbol of the city's ambition to reach upward. But as Johannesburg's economic landscape shifted and population movement boomed, a flood of low-income residents moved in, and a single high-rise quickly became a closed world. Its once pristine atrium was once piled high with garbage, forming a mountain of waste several floors deep at the base. Sunlight filters down from the top, yet it never truly illuminates the lives unfolding inside. Ponte City is more than just a symbol of density. It's a vertical condensation of a city out of balance. When thousands of people are squeezed into limited space without stable governance or resources, the building itself becomes an amplifier of societal fractures. It's not the world's densest structure, but it's a warning. Density without order stops being a tool for efficiency and becomes a pressure cooker. And the real limits are still ahead. Number 8. Hangzhou Lijing International, China. Known as a mega single residential tower, Lijing International sits in Hangzhou's new city center and is one of China's most iconic high-density buildings, with a permanent population of around 20,000. With its unique S-shaped facade, it's earned nicknames like the #1 tower for Hangzhou migrants and Hangzhou's internet celebrity building. Why the viral fame? This tower witnessed the golden age of Hangzhou's live streaming industry, with most units rented out as live streaming studios. The 39-story building spans a total construction area of about 261,700 square meters. Its original design featured standard apartments, but driven by the long-term rental market, countless units were split and renovated, whittling living spaces down to even smaller sizes. The result? A resident count far exceeding the original plan for a single building. This density isn't the unplanned sprawl of a slum. It's space reimagined and repurposed by market forces. Number 7. Site Radieuse, Marseille, France. Completed in 1952, Site Radieuse is a masterpiece by Le Corbusier, one of the 20th century's most influential architects. Built to ease Europe's post-World War II housing shortage, the structure is supported by massive concrete pillars, like an elephant's four legs, masterfully blending concrete's practicality with artistic design. The tower houses roughly 1,600 residents, with an indoor sky street running through its floors, plus shops, a kindergarten, and public activity spaces. It condenses all the functions of a sprawling city into a single structure. Each family has a relatively complete living unit, and public spaces are precision planned to maintain order amid high density. This wasn't built to cram as many people as possible into a small space. It was a quest for sustainable concentrated living in a land-scarce world. Number 6. Guiyang Huaguoyuan, China. Dubbed China's megacomplex, Huaguoyuan is a supersized residential development completed in 2015 with a total construction area of 18.3 million square meters and a total investment of $14.5 billion. Unlike a single tower, it's a tightly packed cluster of high-rises, a city within a city, boasting 311 buildings and 170,000 to 180,000 residential units. Most residential towers are 44 stories high, with 3 elevators, serving 9 households per floor. A single building can hold over 1,000 families, with building spacing as little as 30 meters, and side spacing a mere few meters in some areas. Over 430,000 people call this mega-complex home, and that number doesn't even include the countless business owners and employees who work here. Living in this concrete forest, you truly never need to step outside for an entire month. Number 5. Choi Hung Estate, Hong Kong, China. In one of the world's most land-scarce cities, high-rise public housing is the go-to solution. Choi Hung Estate, located in Wong Tai Sin district of Hong Kong, is one of the city's earliest large-scale public rental housing estates, completed in phases between 1962 and 1964. Now over 60 years old, its vibrant rainbow-hued exterior has made it a social media hotspot and one of Hong Kong's most recognizable architectural landmarks. Spanning about 29,400 square meters with multiple residential towers, it has over 7,400 units and is home to around 17,500 people, an extraordinarily high population density. As the building's age, maintenance costs have skyrocketed, and the Hong Kong Housing Authority has planned a 3-phase redevelopment project that will take about 15 years to complete, adding over 9,200 new units. Despite its aging infrastructure, Choi Hung Estate is brimming with the warmth and bustle of everyday life. Number 4. Tondo Slums, Manila, Philippines. Nestled in the heart of Manila, the capital of the Philippines, the Tondo Slums are the city's most densely populated neighborhood and one of the world's most crowded slums. Sitting close to Manila North Cemetery in Metro Manila's core, it's a magnet for rural migrants seeking a better life, who pack into this tiny patch of land to form a hyperdense community. Statistics show Tondo has a population density of about 80,000 people per square kilometer, far surpassing Manila's citywide average of 46,000. 1 in 10 slum dwellers in the Philippines lives in Manila, and Tondo is the most crowded of them all. The slums are a jumble of self-built shanties, with no formal planning or building standards, mostly rickety wooden and tin structures, low, dilapidated, and crammed together. The passages between homes are only wide enough for one person to squeeze through, and some areas are even built on landfills and polluted rivers, making living conditions abysmal. Most residents live below the poverty line with no stable income, scraping by on garbage collection and odd jobs. A tiny shanty of just a few square meters often houses over 10 people. The Tondo slums are a raw reflection of the stark wealth gap in the Philippines' urbanization journey. Number 3. Dharavi Slums, Mumbai, India. Tucked between 2 major railway lines in Mumbai, and just a river away from the city's central business district, Dharavi is Mumbai's and Asia's largest slum, and one of the world's most densely populated areas. Once a small fishing village, it exploded in population as waves of migrants from southern India flocked here. Today, around 1 million people live in just 2.4 square kilometers, a mind-blowing density of over 410,000 people per square kilometer. An average 76 square meter shanty houses 10 to 12 people. The slums are a maze of illegal shanties and low-rise buildings, with no formal water, electricity, or sanitation facilities. 70% of residents rely on public toilets, 1 for every 500 people. Streets are narrow, some less than a meter wide. When the monsoon hits, the area floods, sewage runs rampant, and unsanitary conditions pose a deadly threat to residents' health. Yet Dharavi is also a poor man's economic zone, generating over $1 billion in economic value each year. It's also the filming location for Slumdog Millionaire, which won 8 Oscars and catapulted Dharavi to global fame, even making it an unusual tourist attraction. Number 2. Cité Soleil, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Tens of thousands of people, around 300,000, pack into this tiny stretch of land, a density far exceeding most slums worldwide. As one of the world's least developed countries, Haiti is plagued by economic decline and social unrest, making Cité Soleil the only refuge for the country's poorest people. Extreme density collides with dire living conditions to define life here. The area is a jumble of unplanned, self-built shanties, low ramshackle, and crammed together with no proper roads between them. Garbage litters every corner, and there's no stable water or electricity supply. Residents live in constant shortage of both. Sanitation is non-existent. Crippling density and abysmal infrastructure cut residents off from basic education, healthcare, and jobs, trapping them in a cycle of struggle amid overcrowding, violence, and destitution. Cité Soleil is a microcosm of Haiti's societal crisis, bearing the weight of the country's poorest people's suffering and hopelessness. Number 1. Kowloon Walled City, Hong Kong, China. How do you fit over 20,000 people into less than 0.03 square kilometers? At its peak, between 26,000 and 30,000 people lived in this almost entirely connected cluster of buildings, an astonishing density of 1.9 million people per square kilometer, 40 times that of Manhattan, New York. It's the most densely populated building complex the world has ever seen, bar none. Located north of Mong Kok in Kowloon, Hong Kong, the buildings were pressed so close together that sunlight barely filtered through, forming a nearly solid vertical maze. Sunlight rarely reached the lower levels, and narrow, winding passageways wove through a jumble of homes, clinics, factories, and shops all stacked on top of one another. The Kowloon Walled City stands as a historic extreme of human living density. Eventually demolished and later turned into Kowloon Walled City Park, this hyperdense complex is long gone, but it remains a legendary chapter in the story of human high-density living. These extraordinarily crowded structures are an inevitable result of land scarcity, and they're also a mirror, reflecting the stark development gaps and countless human stories across the globe. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave your thoughts, like, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.